Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Geeks From The Multiverse. I am one of your hosts, Matt, and I am joined by John and a couple other people, but we're going to be talking different things about Christmas, some Christmas movies, and we're going to stereotype some Christmas people around here. So let's get geeky.
Hey everybody, this is your boy John, and with me is Matt.
What's up, guys?
And I'm joined by two fellow geeksters. One of them is Jordan, who is my best friend of all time.
Thank you for having us.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, buddy. And my other good buddy here, his name's Tyler.
What's cracking?
Well, that's an interesting intro. But anyways, guys, so today we're going to be talking about some Christmas movies, just different kinds of Christmas themes here, and also talk about like the different Christmas geeks. So talking about like what is the Christmas, kind of feeling of like what people do as a whole, right? So like when it comes to like decorating, when it comes
Different
to like music.
types, different types of people. Yeah.
But all right, so for
John.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, we have like three
What do
people now.
you think makes a movie a Christmas movie?
I think a Christmas movie to me is, you get the music going. So like, like for me, I've always loved Nat King Cole, kind of like that, Christmas song, kind of vibes, that, I don't know, anything really Christmas related in that sense, kind of in the beginning, the snowy kind of effect, like you're walking outside and you're like, wow, it's snowing out even in New England, even though we're like, wait a minute, there's no snow outside right now, especially in like the middle of December right now. So it's all good.
So do you think a movie taking place during Christmas automatically makes it a Christmas movie?
That's tough to say, Matt. I mean, you would think that would be the case, but I don't think that would be. I mean, I feel like there's different criteria for this. You know what I mean? I know we're going to be talking about different movies in this case, but I just think that different Christmas movies as a whole, I mean, I feel like there has to be certain criteria. It has to really fit that theme.
Yeah, and I think that's really part of the equation. Like, does it have to be about Christmas as far as like the theme or the plot? Like,
Not necessarily.
Well, I mean, what do you think, Tyler?
I don't know. I mean, like, it could be anything, really. I mean, it could be based in, like, Christmas, like, around the Christmas time, but, like, have a completely different context and not just all about holly jolly holidays and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Well, no, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I'm just saying, like, with Christmas itself. So, like, I mean, I'll mention one that we're going to talk about, like, a big, theory on, like, Die Hard, right? A lot of people say that it's not a Christmas movie, even though it does take place during Christmas time. And a lot of people think that it's not a Christmas movie in that regards, even though it has, in some regards, doesn't have anything to do with Christmas. It's just more based on, his character during that time. But like,
right.
Who knows? Like, is it a Christmas movie? I mean, technically there's a song that they came out with not too long ago that talk about actually Die Hard, being an actual Christmas movie itself. So it really just depends on your perception and, what you think it is, really.
Yeah, so, I mean, searching the interwebs, I did find this, which was a Christmas movie is one in which the plot and characters are directly affected by the fact that it's Christmas. Not a movie that takes place at Christmas, but everything that happens can take place at any time of the year with no change.
Anytime, anywhere.
I was going to add to that too.
Go ahead.
You really want a good Christmas movie where, it touches base to, when you were a kid, right?
Right.
The snow, the music, right? And even then some with romance, but you really want to have a good Christmas movie that relates to how you felt as a kid when you wanted Christmas or you were excited for Christmas,
I mean, for me, like, I think of A Christmas Story. If I'm watching that movie or if I'm watching like the original, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or A Year Without Santa Claus with the claymation back in the day, like something like that. Heat Miser, Snow Miser, like all that to me is like a kid, kind of feeling of like, what would Christmas be like, in those kinds of films. But like, I understand that certain Christmas, movies, or in this case, like different ones that may not be Christmas films, they don't have to have that same context of what those movies embellished. But I feel like these movies, I guess it really is up to interpretation on what you think is an actual Christmas movie or not. You know what I mean? So
subjective, really, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's where, I think as a debate as a whole right now, I think we can kind of decide if whether or not these movies would be considered Christmas films or not.
Yeah, I mean, some of the obvious ones that I've listed, Elf, the Santa Claus, the Christmas Carol, Scrooged, Jingle All the Way.
Oh,
and
Arnold
A Christmas
Schwarzenegger, man,
Story.
that's great. I know.
Yeah, I mean, those are obvious, Christmas movies because they have Christmas themes and it's part of the plot.
Well, right. I mean, and that's kind of like the whole, again, that whole concept of what Christmas would be like in that sense, and just
Right.
different scenarios. But let's start off with Gremlins. Now, I admit when I watched it, like I never would have thought it would have been really Christmas related. I mean, I do understand, like they don't feed them, certain times, and don't feed them after midnight, and don't do these things, and then all of a sudden they turn into these hideous creatures, gremlins, right? And they come swarming in. Like Gizmo, like, feed him once and it's like, okay, he turns into like hundreds of gremlins just running around the rampage of, city. But like, I could see where, they're talking about it, being during that Christmas time. But like, do I think of it as a Christmas movie? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it does take place during Christmas time because we have Phoebe Cates who shares that story about her father breaking his neck, like when climbing down the chimney. Some of the gremlins do, Christmas caroling door to door. But
yes, no, I agree.
Is it because it's Christmas, or would gremlins happen regardless of it being Christmas? Like
Right.
that's really the question of the story is like, would gremlins happen at any time?
So, I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
I'd rather shoot my eye out.
What do you mean? Well, explain. I'm actually curious. Why would you shoot your eye out in that case?
I don't know. I just felt it was necessary to say.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Jordan? What do you think?
Gremlins. I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's subjective, right? So it's like, to what one person would think Gremlins would be a perfect Christmas story, movie, or whatever.
Yeah.
Others might think, per se, Die Hard would be more of the ideal Christmas movie.
I mean, I would say like Die Hard would be more of like an action-packed
Well,
kind of
yeah,
Christmas
of course,
movie in a
right.
sense versus like Gremlins more of a comedy, kind
Right.
of satire.
Again,
Like
it all comes down to the fact that it is subjective, right? It's all
Right.
based to what that viewer thinks what Christmas is.
No, of course. I mean, and that's the thing about, you look at, like I said, these movies as a whole, like, whether you say one is and one isn't,
Right.
what determines that, Christmas kind of feel, regarding these movies.
Sure.
Right. And so like what Matt was saying about with Gremlins, like I can see some themes and I can see certain things into play, but I don't know. Like me personally, I don't think it would be a Christmas type of film. I mean, unless you think of it more of as a comedy.
I didn't know it was a Christmas film.
Exactly my point. I never knew it was either. I can see where, certain
Yeah,
things
I mean,
into
it
play.
has Christmas themes. They're selling Christmas trees. There are Christmas themes within it, but
It takes place in Christmas. It doesn't necessarily have to do with Christmas itself.
right. Yeah, and that's where I'm saying, like, I think Gremlins would have occurred, which, I mean, there is a second movie, and I don't think that one's at Christmas time.
No, I think it was, I don't remember when.
So
but yeah.
I think regardless of it being Christmas, the story could have happened in any other month.
Right. And I mean, it's funny when you mention like the sequels and stuff like that. I mean, well, actually, I know Die Hard didn't take place every single time, at Christmas time.
Die Hard 1 and 2 did.
Well, okay,
but-
fine. But yes, but the third and fourth one did not,
No.
But I'm just saying. Like, I know what was it? 3 Gremlins? I think it is what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think there was a trilogy or so, I believe.
I think there's only 2, but
I thought there was 3.
they did make like an animated show
Oh, is
of
it?
it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess you could count that in, I suppose. I mean, not maybe for the movie sense, but just the overall sense of all these gremlin movies and shows were made all
Yeah.
at once for Christmas purpose, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I think we've talked a little bit about Gremlins, but like, what about Die Hard? I mean, because I think in a lot of ways, I mean, the fact that they made a song about the fact that it was actually a Christmas, movie for both 1 and 2, I think it would be a contender for being a Christmas film, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, the reason he's going is because he was invited to this Christmas Eve party, right? So he's going to a Christmas Eve party. There's a couple scenes in the movie, when he sends the dead, guy down the elevator, and there's a sign that says "Ho ho ho ho! Now I have a machine gun." So there are things.
Surprise.
Surprise.
There are things like within
No,
it that are Christmassy, but like, would that, like, it's kind of like with Gremlins, like, would that story still take place if they were celebrating Thanksgiving or New Year's Eve?
Well, essentially, yes. Like it would kind of like not necessarily take place during like for like Christmas, for instance, but it could have roughly about the same storyline, but because it's just a different holiday, it's a different day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, whether you do Thanksgiving, New Year's, I mean, I think it would still make sense. Whether, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think the necessarily fact of like it being Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve or whatever. I still think that no matter what, I mean, whether it was then or that, it didn't matter. I mean, I just think it personally, like I said, I think it's a Christmas movie, whether, people believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it does take place during Christmas, and there are, Christmas themes, but like that line where he says, "I have a machine gun, ho ho ho," he could have easily said, "Now I have a machine gun, Happy New Year's."
Or Happy Halloween.
Or Happy Halloween. Or,
Happy Thanksgiving, bitch. Like,
That'd be the wildest one, wouldn't it?
Trick or treat,
I mean,
mother effer.
I mean, I will say this. I mean,
Happy
Halloween, motherfucker. I mean, anyways, though, what's funny is, so Matt and I actually talked about like B-rated movies, and actually there was a movie. And my dad actually knows this. It's called Thanksgiving. And it's about a turkey who literally has a machete, or not a machete, a butcher's knife, and it literally says "gobble gobble, motherfucker," and he actually stabs people and does all that. I'm not saying it's like that, but I mean, it would be kind of funny if you had that kind of like same quirkiness to it, like in this movie. So like, ho, 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 I have a machine gun, motherfucker. Like, like ready to go at you. Like, it's that same kind of like comedy, satire kind of, relief in that movie.
Yeah. It's one of those questions. Like, I don't know personally if I consider Die Hard or Gremlins, a Christmas movie, but like if you took Elf or the Santa Claus and you put it around New Year's, that story no longer makes sense.
Well, right, because it's okay. I understand what you're saying on that. Like, because like if you look at Santa Claus, yeah, then that whole movie would just be non-existent. It makes no sense. Elf would be the same way,
right?
But like,
and Tim Allen would be probably hammered.
No, you're probably right.
Coming down your chimney. Don't make me. I got a Jack. Merry Christmas. Yeah. Whatever.
All right. I was going to say subtitles. I don't understand what he's saying.
Speaking of which, though, speaking on the topic of Tim Allen, I've always thoroughly appreciated his Santa Claus movies. Always watching them every single year on repeat, of course. But
they're doing a new one.
They have the series.
Well,
they have the series.
They made the TV series, and so far it's actually not too bad.
Fluffy's pretty good in that. I'm just saying if you haven't seen it, but
I haven't watched it personally. But
I'll say this though, like
I do like those movies though.
You can definitely tell he got old though. That's for sure.
Oh no, you definitely can. I mean, it's funny when you like see him like go revert back to himself, and you're like, whoa, like I forgot that's how old you look like right now.
well, at least now he fits the part of Santa Claus, because Santa Claus is supposed to be like like the older, jolly, ho ho ho, and everything like that. Like he kind of like how the way that he is now, he like kind of fits the character a little bit more than from what it was.
Well, yeah, so many years ago.
Yeah, in that sense. Right.
I mean, when you look at, like Santa Claus or Christmas Carol, Scrooge, all them, like, I mean, when you look at, I mean, it's going to be a little side topic, but like, how like Harry Potter will always like, it was always like during Christmas, Halloween, and all these like different things. They're always like throughout the year.
Imagine that I think the reason why they do that is because there's a lot of like holiday seasons that pass through Harry Potter, like Halloween, you see the floating pumpkins, and then Christmas, the snow falling from the ceilings, and that's what kind of incorporates all those different.
But a majority of I wouldn't say majority. Excuse me. I would say that like most of Harry Potter's most of the Harry Potter series and everything like that, like a lot of the scenes is like coming close to winter, or if not, like snow on the ground and everything like that. And and that's where like they're like the whole series is put on TV and broadcasted like that. And
I mean, I was gonna say like Game of Thrones winter's coming. I don't, you gotta be careful with that. But all right. So, man, I'm gonna ask you this question: why would you think Edward Scissorhands would be a Christmas film, or if anything?
I mean, it takes place during Christmas, so
I never knew that. No, that's the thing.
It's one of those things, and there are like some weird things that occur. Like he does trim trees.
I mean, I get that, but I mean, why would that be?
I guess they're more bushes, but
they're not balsam firs or Fraser firs.
Right, or actual like pine trees or something like that. Yeah,
trimming a hedge to impress a girl is like what I got from it the first couple of times watching it and stuff. Like I never would have thought that. Like
I think it was more just the main fact that he was just different.
I mean, well, yes, but I mean, I would have probably related more to kind of like a Halloween. I mean, it's like the Tim Burton-esque kind of style, and that's the thing.
You kind of get the both the worlds, right? You know,
Right.
you have like the Halloween, like the scissors, scary, right?
This is
And then you
Halloween.
have, Edward Scissorhands taking place on Christmas. You kind of get the both worlds of both Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah, and there's a segue in there with a lot of what Tim Burton does in his movies and animated stuff. Like where Edward Scissorhands lived was kind of on top of that dark mountain.
I mean, I would think more of like a Nightmare Before Christmas. You know,
Yeah,
like,
it's
that's
very
kinda-
similar to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
but
That-
like the town is very like colorful, like old fashioned, and then you have in the background of this like really suburb like street. In the background is like a really dark mountain with that castle thing. That's
right.
where he lives. So you kind of have that, and it's like kind of you look at the Grinch. He kind of lived up in that
Right, in that top
mountain
mountain, yeah.
area.
Well, and that's where like a lot of things on social media now, where like a lot of people like when the Grinch quote unquote like dies, passes, turns into a skeleton, because he has a dog and everything like that, and same thing with like Jack Skellington, he has a little skeleton dog. But it also kind of relates to Tim Burton's other movies like Corpse Bride and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The main character, like one of the main characters in that, is like he starts off as like a kid and now becomes an adult and then now dies and he becomes Jack Skellington. It's kind of like the same theory, like what like a lot of people think about the Grinch.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean,
It's kind of like an interesting parallel, if you will.
I mean,
With Tim Burton's movies, it's just like he seems like to parallel one movie from another.
right. I mean, and Tim Burton really has that. I mean, we've talked about kind of that Tim Burton-esque kind of like style of movies. We mentioned that a little bit ago, but like,
This isn't actually the only Tim Burton one we're mentioning.
well, no, yeah, but no, I understand. But like, I'm just saying, like, a lot of that same theme and that same storyline, it would kind of make sense with that theory of what he does. But, all right, Matt, I'll let you do the last one here.
Batman Returns.
Oh boy,
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean this.
That's a Christmas.
It does happen during Christmas.
Right? Yeah. No.
I
Again,
don't know.
No idea.
hey, Matt, who was the Batman in this one?
I'm Batman.
Michael Keaton.
Sure about that?
Batman Returns.
Was it?
Yeah.
You sure? I'm kidding with you. I know. I wanted to make sure you know.
Yeah. You're an idiot, John.
I'm in it. Wow, that's messed up.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah.
But yes, no, this was with Michelle Pfeiffer, right?
Yes.
This is with her being Catwoman. I never liked her Catwoman
Mm.
personally. It was kind of weird. It was that weird kind of, I know what you're talking about, the Tim Burton-esque like kind of thing, but it was just not what I would have thought of Catwoman. Like, I mean, look,
It's
I've always
certainly
loved-
that Catwoman certainly better than the movie they did with Halle Berry.
I mean, you better be careful,
I was
man.
about to-
Look,
I was
you
about
see
to be
this?
like, we
Because
need
these
a
two-
Halle Berry in here right
I was
now.
going to say, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, didn't Anne Hathaway play as a Catman or Catwoman?
Yeah, she was in
Probably.
the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, The Dark Knight.
Right. I
So
think
that
she played a great.
So I mean, what's funny, Matt and I actually did talk about how Batman as a whole, like the different Batmans and the different Catwomans and different characters that have been played by different actresses and stuff like that. To enable really a Catwoman, it's just like every other character we've talked about, like Batman. We've talked about like who's our favorite, right? I mean, again, perspective of
Right.
like what you think is really the best. I mean, I agree that Anne Hathaway definitely did a good job.
Mm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought Halle Berry was really, promiscuous in the, in her
Yeah,
film.
but she's
like,
always promiscuous.
no, I know, but it was
Movies.
like I understand what you're coming from. It's not like really the story kind of baseline of.
I just appreciate Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, and I actually like her outfit a whole lot better than what we've seen.
I mean, the problem is I feel like there's certain characters that don't really do it justice, right? Because like you look at the different Batmans over the years, right? So you look at Michael
Gosh,
Keaton,
that's,
you look at
that's
George
a broad
Clooney.
spectrum.
No, but listen. So you got George Clooney, right? You got Michael Keaton. You got
We're gonna strike George Clooney off the record.
we're gonna definitely strike him off. Val Kilmer, right? And you look at Christian Bale, right? And then you have a couple new ones that came out. Robert Pattinson that just did one.
Bat flick.
Yeah, Batflick was another. So like now my opinion, like if
I'm
gonna
sorry, but he just I don't know. He doesn't belong as a Batman.
I mean,
in my opinion, I will always say that Christian Bale was the better Batman.
I mean, I agree with you, but I know Matt's going to tell you something else. But go ahead.
I mean, I've always liked Michael Keaton, but I did like Ben Affleck's like Batman suit. Like that. I think that suit was
Yeah,
really,
I would
really
have to
good.
agree that he did well also.
I think it goes down to like the writing, and if they actually had good writers that wrote a
Oh,
good
wait,
script,
wait, wait.
like that would be like I think Ben Affleck would have had a decent time as doing Batman, but
So-
there's a reason why he's no longer doing Batman.
So I'm going to say this real quick. So I actually, for shits and giggles, Matt, I actually went on ChatGPT and I wanted to see what it would actually do. I wanted to see if it would actually.
we go.
No. But listen, we talked about how if AI could write, a lot of these scripts. I agree that they could. I guarantee you that AI, because I tried just like I'm like, write me a college essay on whatever. It was going into really good details on a lot of different things. But I'll tell you this. I guarantee you an AI will write a hell of a lot better than a lot of these, actual people writing all this different stuff, because they haven't actually, let's say looked at the comic books, or if they really understand the story arc for each character. I'm telling you, I think an AI would do a hell of a lot better than what, DC has been actually making.
Well, theoretically, it's like kind of like electronically put together. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, but what I found interesting about ChatGPT was like, if you gave it a topic and you actually gave, so there's a thing called data analysis. So what you do is you upload a document. It'll literally analyze the whole thing. And if you say certain keywords or certain things like that, it will write it out and it will tell you like a good opinion on it or something like that. I honestly think, I guarantee you moving forward, they're probably going to start using that, because I guarantee you they're going to actually look at like if they start showing like comic books and stuff, they're actually going to start using that, and it's actually going to make more sense. And instead of having somebody that maybe knows,
I highly doubt it, since that's what the writers were on strike for to begin with.
I mean, I'm just saying, because I saw it. I just
once you invite, and I'm not saying AI is completely bad. It's just once you kind of invite that idea, it's like, oh hey, now the people that are actually thinking and writing these things are going to be replaced, right? So it's like,
well, I mean, that was the whole thing about just not only the writers, but even the actors and actresses. I mean,
Right.
because the likeness and whatnot. So I mean, the prime example is like, I remember, was it Coachella when they decided to do like it was like a hologram of like Tupac and all them. Like, I mean, granted, that's not like really likeness, but like they did show them actually performing and doing all that. I mean, that could be a consideration of likeness of somebody who is, in this case, deceased. So
Right.
like they could do it with Tupac, they could do it with Michael Jackson, they could do it with like a whole Biggie. They could do it with everybody else. So if anyone dies, I mean, as long as they get the voice and they get certain things, I mean, they could make it an industry.
Right.
Now, granted, it's not right. I agree, but the problem is like if they own the rights to certain things,
Well,
companies are going to do whatever the hell they want.
well, right, exactly.
especially when they know it's going to be bringing in big buku bucks. So.
I mean, like I said with Tupac, I mean that's a prime example.
Not even with like just like bringing in like buku bucks or anything like that, but like to have their voice and everything like that, and because of like how like up to date and advanced technology is,
Right.
you can just like have these holographic projectors and everything like that. It's essentially like what they did with Michael Jackson shortly after like he passed like one of his concerts or whatever.
Right.
Like they brought like he was like a full like hologram, and it was like he was like actually there. You know, because like they have his voice, they can, you know, again with the technology that's around now, they can not necessarily chop and screw, but like they can like take that and put
Very
it into
closely.
like they can put it into like that type of thing, and almost make it like you're actually seeing that person in like a concert per se. And you know, this could be a thing, you know, a few years down the road where, you know, because like you know, everybody's so into like technology, this and that, blah blah blah. But like, you know, you can kind of like almost essentially bring back deceased artists, you know, RIP to all those
That were
people,
huge.
and, yeah,
Huge.
and you know, kind of like bring it back in a sense where, but like people would be like iffy about it, but also at the same time, like they'll still go out, pay the money for it, and to like kind of have that experience. It's almost as like if they're still around, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, when it comes down to, you know, technology in that sense, I mean, you know, you look at, like we were talking about, you know, likeness and like, you know, movies and things like that. So like another example too, like Paul Walker, right? When he died and his brother had to come in and like CGI and do all that.
Rest in peace.
I mean, rest in
RIP,
peace,
yeah.
actually. Yeah. But like, you know, with him, like, you know, that was kind of like, I feel like their worries down the road is like, you know, could you, let's say, for example, let's say you had, I don't know, let's say Batfleck, right? Let's say his persona, but like, then you could just change his voice and like make it to, I'm trying to, I think it's Christopher. Is it Christopher? No. trying to remember his name. The guy who actually did the Batman back in the animated series. Like, granted, he's dead too. Unfortunately, the voice that did that. But like, imagine his like character. I mean, just like, and then just put his voice on it. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds stupid, but they could probably do that with CGI and do everything else. But like,
Well, I think the real issue that they had were, that if, say, they were filming a Batman movie with Ben Affleck, and for whatever reason he couldn't, or get to the set that day, the fear is that they would just use AI to replace
right, his voice.
him.
So they could have probably done that with a kind of like a remake of a Heath Ledger Joker.
I mean, well,
Right.
I agree. I mean, I would love to hear his voice again, but the problem is that they could do it. I mean, they could just take snippets of whatever they did in the past and then just recreate it and do it in that sense.
They could find somebody else with a similar like body, like frame and stature and everything like that, and CGI his face into it, or something like that.
Right, and like that's what him and I were talking about is like having that capability and that technology. I mean, you have advance of so many things you could do, and I mean, the endless possibilities are there. I mean, the problem is like whether or not they're going to take those next steps is the issue, because again,
Well, the problem is, like, if you are an actor in said movie and you don't show up to the set, and then you find out that they used AI to replace your likeness and voice,
Kind of a kick.
one, you'd no longer get paid because you didn't show up to the set.
well, hold on. What was that?
That's the problem.
What was that one movie we talked about, Back to the Future, right? Where it was one of the guys who
They didn't use AI though. They used
No, they didn't
makeup
use
to
AI.
make them look like Crispin
correct,
Is it
but
de-aging?
that was back in the day. But like that was their earliest version of like how they could have done
and
that.
he sued the studio and won.
He
so.
did. Yes, that is true. But like that could be a thing now, because if that's something that happened in the past,
Well, not anymore because they won their,
Well,
strike
yeah,
too.
no, I'm right.
Right.
I
So
understand.
they can't do that anymore without permission. But getting back to Batman Returns,
Yes, you got to be sorry, guys. So yes,
So-
Batman Returns.
Max Schreck, who is Christopher Walken in that movie,
I didn't realize his name was that. I didn't realize
he is introduced as Gotham Santa Claus.
that.
So during the speech, like he's handing out gifts, the Penguin literally comes out a giant, like, gift wrapped package.
Oh, you mean Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
a little. Never mind.
So he
Baby Yoda.
literally jumps out of a giant like present.
No, yeah.
So
I'm right and you're wrong, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Pretty much, dude.
there's another scene where Batman and Catwoman do a dance under a mistletoe. So is it a Christmas movie? I don't think it is, but it takes place during Christmas. Would that situation take place any other time? Sure.
It could. I mean,
It could. And it, in the comic books, obviously it has many, many times, but there is kind of a funny joke that I saw within this kind of description. And it was, what does Bruce Wayne do when he gets a present he doesn't like?
what?
Batman returns it.
Really? It's a corny ass joke. I'm not gonna lie. That's a corny.
I
Anyways,
didn't write it.
It was weak
So-
sauce, but not bad.
so
Stacy Dash, most
So-
of these girls ain't got a clue.
some follow up runners here. So Lethal Weapon,
Lethal Weapon.
Babe.
Yes.
Iron Man 3, Step Brothers, and Home Alone. Home Alone. I mean,
I
I
heard
could.
they were coming back with another Home Loan. Is that?
Well, it's probably not with
Or-
the same. What Macaulay?
Macaulay Culkin, is
Yeah.
he going to be?
They kind of filmed like a
father?
short. I saw it on YouTube just the other day. Like, it's kind of a short
little
little.
trailer kind of
Trailer
thing?
of it.
Was he
but-
the dad or something?
He's got
No,
it.
he
That'd
was
be
married
wild.
with his own kid. Like,
Well, that's what I said.
and
that's what I just said.
they were getting out of jail, so he like rigged up his house all over again.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
of course. Oh god. But all right.
But like
Good
all
for him,
these
too,
all these
for
other
making-
movies, like they take place during Christmas, but like it's again one of those questions like Lethal Weapon, Babe, Iron Man 3, like those movies could have taken place any other time.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
Not, they're not actual Christmas movies, but yeah, like you were saying, like it's just because of the fact that it takes place during Christmas, like the holiday season and everything like that, doesn't necessarily classify it as a Christmas movie.
Right. So, all right, guys. So we're going to be talking about Christmas geeks. So different types of people that do different Christmas.
Yeah,
things.
different types of people around Christmas because I feel like there are we're calling them geeks, but when it comes to Christmas, they're geeks.
Right. And so, like, I know I was talking to Tyler a little bit. So, like, geeks in general, it doesn't necessarily mean like, like we're talking about like video games, movies, things like that. So, I mean, geeks can be literally anything, right? So if you're geeky about Christmas, guess what? You're a fanatic.
Mm.
Yeah,
You're gonna love it, and you're gonna
definitely
do
a
it.
geek when it comes to Christmas. But
I'm definitely
Huge.
geeky, almost like nerdy with
I mean,
Christmas.
Look
right
at your
now,
shirt,
yeah,
for
I was
God's
gonna
sakes. I
say.
mean, we've talked about this.
I'm wearing the shirts, whatever.
Full of
Hold on.
holidays.
What does it say?
Full of holiday spirit, and I got flashing lights on it that, flick of a button. Here I am sitting here with my elf hat, holly jolly, ho, ho, ho.
But anyway, so like, Christmas decorators, right? So, I mean, these are the guys actually across the street from our place. There's definitely some people that like to really go out with the lights, like the decorations of like, a big ass Santa with like Rudolph and like, snowman and all this other stuff. I mean, it's
big
kind of like,
inflatables, lots of lights.
it's
They,
called, what is it? The National
5
Lampoon?
months
Right?
of
Like that guy,
bills.
like that would be a
trying
fanatic.
to overdo your neighbor. Yeah, it's they go above and beyond, and it might not just be their house. Like they'll decorate their office at work. They'll have stuff on their car, like you see these cars like with the antlers or the little
Rudolph nose.
Rudolph nose on the bumper.
It almost makes you feel like you're in Whoville.
No, you're right. That's exactly what I would feel like.
Yeah.
And then you got your Christmas music. Sorry, Christmas music lovers, right? So like you guys, I don't know about you, like I love
Huge.
like Nat King Cole, right? I loved Christmas, like the Christmas song. I like different ones from like Frank Sinatra, like the the kind of the oldies that have been played.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, Mariah Carey.
Can
No
go.
freaking way is all I gotta say.
She can just
Or
go-
Wham.
Yo, give me some Burl Ives.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
I can't do it,
Sorry.
dude. I can't. Mariah Carey's. I mean, she's just so overrated, right? Like she's just you expect to hear her at Christmas time, but only for that one song, and that one song.
Nah,
is-
Kelly Clarkson.
I think they just it's just one of those well overplayed.
I mean, so here's
songs,
the problem is not only Mariah Carey. I'm just thinking of all artists around the world. I mean, there's like Justin Bieber, there's Michael Bublé, there's like Christina Aguilera. I mean, there's so many artists that literally recreate songs over and over and over and over again that you're like, okay, listen, I'm glad that I heard it for, I don't know, the 30th time right now of like, the rendition of like the Christmas song or something like that. I'm like, listen, there's only one guy or one person that has sang this the right way. Listen and leave it alone. Don't recreate the wheel. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to make a Christmas song, make it original, make it something new, and don't be that person, right? Because Wham, I mean, I understand like it's like, that repeated song, but like at least it's original. You know what I mean? Like that's an original song that they created.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like one of those actual songs. Other than like you have like I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. Like
Yeah.
it just annoys me so much. Like and the Jackson 5 one.
Yeah.
I saw Mommy
Kissing
yeah,
Santa
Kissing
Claus.
Santa Claus. I mean, and like, what was it? Bob Rivers.
I did see Mommy kissing Santa Claus.
Well, so like we were just listening to Bob Rivers, right? And the 12 Pains of Christmas and stuff like that. Like that's an original, like, I mean, it's a funny satire one, but like that's original. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a rendition, of course, 12 Days of Christmas, but like at least he, talks about different things of what's going on.
Yeah.
But like there's different songs in there, which I love, but like, I'm sorry, what was that in Peanut Gallery? Oh, sorry. Okay. So like, at least that, when it comes to those kinds of songs, I mean, it's great to listen to, but like, I agree. There's just certain artists that after a while, like when we listen to, like I said, Mariah Carey, things like that, you kind of get really annoyed and you really don't want to hear that, especially right after Halloween.
Don't get me wrong. Some people like geeks, right? We're talking about geeks. Some people like Mariah Carey to that extent.
Taylor Swift. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh God, no!
They
not
just
Taylor
love
Swift.
listening to that song on repeat, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Well,
give it a rest.
I mean,
for me anyway.
Yeah, this category really. I mean, you're looking at these aren't just the people that like when they get in their car. There's it's like WZID or whatever is on the radio,
Right.
and they're playing. No, like these people will have it playing in their house when they go to work. They're playing it when they're in the
They're
car.
in the
It's
shower,
like-
dude.
When they're
Shopping.
cleaning their house, for example.
24/7. It's Christmas music, and they usually will play it like before Halloween. It's like no. Can we just not?
let's
yet?
focus on having Halloween. And then
Yeah. Well, and not only
My
that,
Christmas doesn't
like-
start till November 1st.
well, not even that, but why aren't there like more Thanksgiving songs? There's only one Thanksgiving songs from like Adam Sandler. Exactly. That's the only
And then
song
maybe,
I know.
Maybe you'll hear like
I love
Snoopy
to
or
eat
something like that, and that will make you
all
think,
day
oh,
long.
you know what I mean?
Oh, sorry, we had a rendition. Go ahead.
No.
No, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to give the respect for each holiday, right? So Halloween, Thanksgiving, then Christmas. Don't just jump ahead. Walmart, get with the program, man. Stop selling crap right after Halloween.
Well, unfortunately, that's just like how the way that everything is, like, and it's become
Christmas is so
more and more,
commercialized, yeah.
Right.
and especially because it's like not for nothing not to get political about it, but like it's like the dollar signs, like these people know that they can pursue and persuade people into doing extra more than they would in their everyday life, set aside of it being Christmas, because like you don't have like all these like huge like holiday deals. You don't have like the Black Friday going on at, any other time of the fucking year.
Well, I was going to say, like, it kind of leads into the next kind of conversation, which I'm not going to lie. I'm going to start with this first is like, when you look at Christmas as a whole, right? I look at it as, when people say, okay, it's about gifts, like it's not. It's actually about the time that you're spending with one another. It doesn't actually matter. Like, you know what? Really, it's for kids. I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to lie, guys. If I could hang out with you every single day, it'd be great. But I would tell you this, if I could hang out with you on Christmas Day, it'd be a hell of a lot better, especially playing beer pong and doing all that stuff. Right. But what I'm saying is it's that moment of like, celebrating with your friends and family and being able to be there. Right. So like, when I see my son, when he's a little bit older, I mean, granted, he's only 3 months old, but, I would love to see him open up his, first Christmas gifts and like, being able to see that, and like for me, I don't care. I mean, hell, if I could just hang out with my dad, my mom, whatever, fine, so be it. Like that's to me more important than be like, oh, okay, thanks for the PS5 or thanks for that Xbox that you gave me for Christmas. I'm sorry, Jordan, I'm mentioning that right now.
Well, right.
Thank me later.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, I'm waiting for that on your tax return, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry.
There is definitely a different joy. Obviously, all of us grown up, we're adults and everything like that. We don't really appreciate Christmas as much as we used to, but when you have like a little one or anything like that at home, like that's
opens up your eyes.
Absolutely.
That's what fills the hearts of like the joy, the comfort, and and everything like that, and the smiles and so on and so forth. Like you're really doing it for the little ones, and like like what John was saying, like Christmas is definitely for like more for like children. Adults, we're like, yeah, we're going to a Christmas party. Ew, you drunk bastard! I just had 6 beers and 5 shots of Jack Daniels, and I'll tell you what, you ain't gonna remember that.
We're gonna get to those people.
Oh, no,
we're gonna get to those people. But with the Christmas shoppers, like it's one of those things. Like my mother, she would start shopping January 1st. You know what I mean? Like she would start like buying presents here or there, like pretty much throughout the year, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, you don't even know what people want. And like,
that's just
by the time December comes around, like
they change their mind.
The things that you got in January may not even be like
a relevant thing anymore.
A relevant thing.
Or they might have already gotten it, right?
I mean, listen, guys, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not like, you know what? I'm going to go shopping on 23rd, 24th and be like, all right, let's do this, boys. And like, just go right in and start buying gifts. And then I'm like, this is a bad idea because then, of course, it's like 3 times the price at the time, but it's all good. It's great.
But you'll have those people in, like I've had some in my life that will be like, oh, I'm all done my shopping for Christmas. How about you?
I haven't even fucking started yet.
I haven't even started anything yet, but no, I agree. I mean,
it's like they rub it in your face, like, oh, I've been all done since like August.
I mean, I guarantee you.
Yeah,
right. I mean, I'm going to say this, guys. I mean, I will say for Christmas this year, I'm a broke bastard, my friend. And guess what? I've been using my son as a Christmas gift for everybody else. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying it because there's somebody in the room that would know this. But what I'm saying is like, even, and that's the thing about shoppers too, is that I don't think they need to realize this is sometimes even just the homemade stuff. You don't need to go buy extravagant gifts.
You don't need this materialistic.
Some people just love it. You know what I mean? Some people just love it. And
I mean,
I can understand from their point of view, like they want to give. But, being that Christmas shopping geek, it's one, you can definitely go overboard very quickly, so
it'll mean a little bit more too. Like, John with his son, he could be like, handicrafty and everything like that, building like little like rocking horse or something. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing like a random example out there, but like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like materialistic, latest iPhone, iPad, Android, whatever, like it doesn't have to be like any like kind of things like that. Like people have Christmas like misconstrued and, it kind of sucks too because like some people, around the holidays, it's very tough, like because they lost a loved one or something like that. And it's kind of it's a different take, but like quite frankly, just like having people around, the good vibes, the that's what's called like the holiday spirit. Everybody's laughing, joking, everyone's hanging out, and having a good time. It doesn't necessarily mean what's underneath the tree.
Right.
Right.
So actually, not to interrupt, guys. I'm gonna do a little shout out real quick. So unfortunately, my grandfather passed away this past week, and I want to give a shout out to him because, again, we were kind of hoping that he was going to be there, a little past Christmas, things like that. Unfortunately, we have a funeral to go to next week. But when you were talking about the holiday spirit and the Christmas spirit, right? I loved him very well. Let me put it this way: it was hard on a lot of different levels. Do I love the man? I do. Unfortunately, he was a stubborn Irish prick. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. I'm going to say, guys, boys and girls, I don't care. I'm just going to let you know, but I'm going to say this, right? Do I love him? Yes. But at the same time, with the holiday spirit and everything else, right? I mean, you got to remember that, unfortunately, with the time that we have on this planet, right? And so that's the thing about with Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. So that's what I think of when you look at this Christmas holiday and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, I've had a lot of loved ones between December and January that have passed on, right? And so, when you look at, spending time with people, when we just talked about, giving the gifts to, the little ones and, many, in this case, spending time with your family, as adults and things like that, you got to remember all the, the time that you have with them, because I mean, we always say that, we always have so little time on this planet, right? And so at the end of the day, if you can at least spend some time on, that Christmas, and that's the funny thing too. And I don't know if we talk about it, but like, that, what is considered Christmas? Like, is it one day? Is it the whole month? Is it a week? Is it, you know what I mean? Like those are the kinds of things.
It's the whole 31 days and, like essentially like New Year's because, I mean, but people only really give a hoot and a holler about New Year's just as an excuse to get shit tanked and, whatever. But like, again, yeah, it's
Right.
like,
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's more of like a frame of mind. Yes, Christmas
all how you
is one
perceive it.
singular day.
Right, but I feel like you can do it for like a
Right.
week, a month. And you know what? It doesn't matter because, like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, with my family, like, I have to spend holidays with like 1, 2, 3. It could be like 5 individuals, and it's all on separate days. And like to me, it doesn't matter if it's on Christmas Day or not. It at least is I'm spending time with them on that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like that's the whole point of it. You know what I mean? So like whether my son, spends it with my dad one day and then has it, with my mother and then, my wife's, side of the family and so on and so forth. Like it doesn't matter. Right. But at least you're spending that time, in that, that same time frame, because it's great if you can do it on Christmas Day. I highly doubt it if you can do it as a divorced family, but good luck with that.
Basically impossible.
But I'm just saying, I know it's a little off topic, guys, but I'm just saying, like, that's just the way I think of it.
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's definitely like a frame of mind that I'm more of a bah humbug kind of guy, but
I mean, you're a Grinch, but it's okay.
I've embraced my grinchiness and it's fine. It works for me. But
I think
Alright.
on top of everything
ahead.
else, when it comes to holiday seasons, right? Everyone, tends to forget and take things for granted, and they just don't really, they don't see what the actual true meaning of Christmas is. And
not for nothing. Like a lot of people, like, what I mean by like a lot of people, like, I mean, like, the generation like under us, like, because like everything is so advanced and people are more so like, parents are their kid's best friend and everything like that. People like, a lot of kids now, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but like a lot of people are like expecting to get like a Christmas present or anything like that. Like,
Sure.
my mother asked me, she's like, what do you want for Christmas? Write me down what you want. I was like, I don't need anything.
Mm.
I'm like, off topic, I move back in, so on and so forth. I pay them right. I, do all this and that. They don't need to give me anything. They allow me back in their home. They gave me a roof over the head, food in my belly, and a bed to sleep in. And honestly, like to me, that's a great enough. Like that's a fantastic Christmas present. But to others, they look at it completely different. Like, what the hell, blah blah blah. Like, and it's kind of
Why
like,
don't you give me this? Why don't you give me that?
Right.
Right. It's
Oh,
it's
wait,
that
man.
gratefulness. Like that's the
Yeah.
problem with society. I mean, we don't think about these things. I mean, it's the little things that count. But like, when we start to think about like, what are we really teaching our kids? You know, when, like I said, I remember as a kid, I mean, you could get a football, a Game Boy, and all this other stuff for like $200, and now like a PS5 and Xbox. I'm only mentioning this, Jordan, because I know you just love this topic.
Yeah, right. He
But, you know,
Josh McCall's here, dude.
no, I'm kidding. No, but like, you know, how these expensive consoles and all these other things that are so expensive that, you know, you're spending $1,000 on, you know, all these different things. And like, you know, as kids, we got things that were like less than $200 or less than that, depending on what it is, you know, but like, you know, when these kids are like, oh, I want this, I want that. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. I will never, I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it. And it's a general comment. I will never give my kid an iPhone at 3 years old. That's all I'm going to say.
God, no.
That's all I'm going to say.
You'd be lucky to get like a little like action figure that makes a sound, like let alone, you know, something that like, you know, you have that kind of access
back when
to
we were
it.
kids, we didn't obviously have that kind of technology, right? We were, you know, playing on our Game Boys and,
we were handed fucking Jenga and it was like, here you go to town.
But we were
And you're like, you know what, that's great.
excited
You know?
about
Like,
that. I miss Jenga. I miss playing the heck out of Jenga.
But all right, guys, I know we've been a little off topic here. So
Yeah, we got three more.
all right,
Three
let's
more
movie buffs.
movie buffs. So they'll, you know, every Christmas season, I'll say, these geeks in particular will like literally try to watch every Christmas movie possible.
I'm not gonna lie, I do like to watch, you know, like we mentioned on here, like A Christmas Story, you know, Elf, like, you know, kind of rewatching the classics like Santa Claus, you know, Christmas Carol, things like that. You know, I mean, if you really want to get screwed up, you could really watch Krampus. If you have no idea what that is, you know, you could kind of do some research on that. That's all I got to say.
Krampus, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know,
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
people like
these
that.
That has a little bit more sinister twist to it, but
obviously, yeah, because he, you know, kidnaps naughty
This is
children.
Halloween.
yeah, basically.
But like, you know, these geeks in particular, like they'll put on A Christmas Story on Christmas and they'll just have it playing over and over and over. And like the seventh time that it's on, they'll be watching it like they've seen it for the first time. And it's like, this movie has literally been on all day. Like, can we maybe put on football or something like different? No, this has to play. Okay.
So I will say this, like, I will admit, I'm going to give a little shout out to my wife's family here. That's exactly what they would do. They actually would play Christmas Story.
Oh, my wife's family does the
No,
same
no.
thing.
And the worst part is then they would start. It's like Toy Story, Harry Potter, all these things. They'd actually start quoting from the actual movie, and they do it all the time.
Yes.
And then like
Yes.
it's just like, okay, listen, like I've watched it, but I'm not going to remember every single line of every single, you know, Christmas movie of all time. Like
It's like my wife and Elf.
It's a difficult responsibility.
I mean, well, see, but that's fine. Like that's a classic. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. There's just certain things that like if I keep watching the same thing over and over, like don't get me wrong, in Christmas Story, like the dad with the leg lamp and everything, like I love
yeah.
that scene.
Love that.
You know,
man.
it's a great scene. But
Him-
like you
him
know,
stealing turkey and the dogs all running in and
he's like,
and,
I
yeah.
triple dog dare you. You know, like you know, like that's a classic line. But like I don't
It's
want
a
to.
great movie, but yeah, I don't want to watch it 10 times on Christmas Day.
Right.
Yeah.
my wife's or my wife to be, excuse me.
yeah, sorry.
Not on Christmas, but when it comes to Halloween, huge into Halloween Town, and we would watch that on and on and on, and it's just like
Religiously.
yes, and like it became a religion. Like it's just one of
It
those
became a
things. Yeah,
religion.
no,
Is it a
it's
cult following?
almost, dude? It's
Okay.
that close.
Happy Halloween.
I've always watched Halloween on Halloween,
and
but like
don't get me wrong,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a great movie, but holy smokes! Like I can only hear that theme song so many times until
Well,
like
I mean,
This is Halloween.
This is Halloween. No, but I mean, I agree. I mean, I feel like, you know, when it comes to Christmas, Halloween, you know, Thanksgiving, you know, no, I'm just kidding. You know, if you like watch
maybe for
certain
Bad
movies.
Santa.
Oh, yeah, but it's true. Bad
Yeah.
Santa. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think that, you know, you could watch it so many times. It's great. But like, I think the really general theme is just, you know,
Wait,
there's
when
got to be
you-
a point.
when you start going into watching the Hallmark Christmas movies, then
Oh, don't get me
that's
started
where
on
we
that.
draw the
Okay,
line and we go,
okay.
no,
Don't
no,
get me
no,
started
this
on that.
This
There
is
are
like-
some Hallmark movies that are exceptional.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay, Jordan, I'm going to say this right now.
There are no Hallmark movies
No,
that are
listen,
worth-
There's
Jordan.
this one couple.
I am not
Okay,
sitting
fine.
there with
All right,
a box
all right,
of chocolates
go
in
ahead,
my
Jordan.
Just watch Heaven Sent.
Okay, I'm not saying I wouldn't. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, there's only one woman that I know that religiously watches Hallmark movie, and I know you know this woman very well.
I do
Okay,
very well.
I'm just saying that's what she would be watching every
Yes,
single time.
yes,
and I
I
know
agree.
he's shaking his head, but I'm just saying. But it's the anyways, guys. So let's move on here. So
So the Christmas partier.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I knew.
anyways, Xmas party, right?
The
So
Christmas partier. Yes, these guys will Like they'll go to every party. They will plan their own parties, whether it's work, family, friends, church, the bar down the street, like wherever. They're at.
Oh wait, are you talking about my dad on that one? The bar down the street? I'm kidding. It's a joke.
I mean, if you take it personally, then yes.
American Legion. Just kidding. Anyway, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Anyways,
they will drag everybody they can to these parties, whether they want to go or not.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll wear an ugly
party's
Christmas
a
sweater.
party.
While I get,
Hey, I'm wearing an ugly Christmas sweater. What about that? Oh wait, I'm sorry. We're talking about that the next time.
His is actually really exceptional.
Okay, sorry. Mine's just shitty. Is what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
No.
It definitely doesn't look like two polar bears.
It's a very nice sweater.
Yeah.
Thank you. At least you're the only one that in this room likes it.
Not
But
beers.
This next song I call is Christmas Sweater.
Christmas sweater.
When you wear a Christmas sweater.
All right, SpongeBob.
All year long. I mean, no, I'm kidding. So no, I agree. Well, like the partiers. I mean, it's basically your local drunks. I'm just gonna say it. Like you're the base. I'm kidding. All right.
Oh, yeah,
all right.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm just kidding.
Here we go.
Just so everybody's aware,
Hi, Dad.
John's dad is here.
Legend and John.
Hey, there's my dad for you.
Hey.
So I'm kidding. He's not the local drunk. What I'm saying is it's the guy or gal, okay, guy or gal that basically just wants to have a good time. You know, have that
Wants
Christmas
to party
spirit.
all the time, and they'll usually, whether you're grocery shopping or you just kind of going to Walmart or wherever they're going, like
Yes.
they will just fill the cart, like, the cart with like random stuff, and you're like, what are you buying this for? Well, we're having a party. Wait, we are?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Surprise.
Surprise!
You spend $105 on like stuff that you're probably never going to
Use ever again.
Yeah.
Jingle Bell Rock hits different when you're 10 shots deep.
Ah, dude.
I mean,
Pretty much anything hits different when you're 10 shots deep.
I mean, but
That's when shirts start coming off.
so I mean, I feel like with the partier, it also kind of just yeah, kind of like right here. So like spending too much time on planning and shopping and stuff. So like, it's that person that just has really too much time on their hands,
Right.
especially during this time of the year. I mean, if they have like no family, then yeah, no kidding. They'd be the ones going to every party, like hanging out with all your friends and like be like, hey man, you having a party? That's great. I'm going to be right there. No problem. And 10 shots deep, Jingle Bell Rock, baby. That's right.
Yeah, and I'm one for a good Christmas party, but like I don't want to go to your 5th or 6th Christmas party. Like there's a limit to how many parties I want to go
Wait,
to.
I
One,
agree.
to be honest, like
Is that in a year or excuse me, is that like one per year or is that multiple per month?
Well, I
Talking
guess
about-
per holiday, I guess you could say now if we're talking holiday.
well, I mean, if we're strictly talking Christmas,
Right.
I mean,
but-
Yeah, like obviously don't.
like I went to on Friday I went to my wife's work one, which was is okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was like the greatest party I've ever attended, but it was
Or
okay.
work,
But like
I guess it's probably exceptional. I'm sure.
yeah, and
Well, yeah. I mean,
other parties like would be fine, but like I wouldn't want to go to like hey, this is my 13th Christmas party. No, that's
I mean, so
A little redundant.
yeah, it's a little overdone.
So like a little bit, like I went to my work, Christmas party and stuff like that. I mean, it was okay. The problem is like when you start going to work parties and stuff like that, especially around Christmas, it's not really so much about you. It's about the upper management, right? Or the people that are really in charge of the whole big, the big wigs and stuff like that. So it really doesn't really like it's
People
cool
that
to
take
like
all the
meet
credit.
people, right? But it doesn't really matter as much. Like I'd rather have a party with you guys like I'm doing right now, but like,
Hey.
that's just me, right? I mean, but like I don't want to be hanging out with like
You don't want to go up to your boss when you're 3 sheets to the wind and tell him like, "Hey, buddy, love you," or whatever, stuff like that.
No, yeah,
You
I
don't
mean,
want to go up and make a fool out of yourself.
Right.
And,
no, I mean, at that point, you're like, hey, how you doing? Let me just talk to you professionally and let me not sound like an asshole while I'm talking to you, kind of a deal.
quote unquote trying to talk to professionals.
Right, trying to-
What
3 shots deep in Jingle Bell Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10
It
shots.
just it just hits differently.
Right. So the last part, right?
Like
So
the
we're
last
talking about
one,
switching
yes.
to go-
so we're talking about Xmas fashionista. So we have our boy Tyler right here,
Fashionistas.
right? So with his
Hey.
ugly sweater looking, definitely like holiday spirit going on here.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing right now. So I went to Charming Fair Farm today with the girlfriend and the little one, and Santa Claus and a couple of like the other workers there said that I had the best Christmas sweater when I walked up to there. I didn't have the flashy lights, anything like that. I was trying to keep it on the DL, especially because it's kind of
There is no DL with that.
like a family friendly thing. Even though they're both holding beer steins, full to the top, foaming over, but.
Yeah, it's lighting up.
Yeah. It's still going. It's large and in charge. Yeah. See,
What? It's beer steins, my
Yeah,
friend.
I'm aware of
These
what
are beer
it is,
steins.
but his
You.
actually
What was your
lights up.
comment, Jordan? What did you say earlier? What they look like?
is it a bear? Is it a bear?
Oh no,
stein
sorry.
or
It
a
was these
beer
two.
stein?
Hold on a second. These two had an interesting conversation. Something about what was it? Balls and dicks and something else like that.
It's-
Oh, it was
Balls
you
and
two. It was
wieners.
you two. Yes.
If you look at it, dude, it's kind of there. You should.
I don't see it.
I'm just saying. I don't see the balls and dicks here.
I see two polar bears enjoying a nice cold one.
Exactly. That's what I thought. Teddy Brewskis. I know.
They're not
Anyways,
even
clink.
drinking it though.
clink.
They're just cheersing.
Well, okay, guys. But the point
Are
is
they
about.
polar bears or are they goats though? I mean, they look
Okay,
kind
all right. Are we
They
really?
could-
This is the whole point of an
Yeah,
ugly sweater. You don't
identify it.
really know.
They
okay?
kind of look like goats. But
I'm honestly surprised there isn't a Coca-Cola logo on there.
That's what I.
Hey, listen. I would rather have.
You
I
know,
would rather have that than anything
there
else.
was a missed opportunity there, but
Yeah, it was.
But guys, I mean, I will say this: like with the fashionista. I mean, we're talking like overboard.
yeah, I mean, they honestly won't care what they look like. Like they can legit dress like an elf
Like
and be completely normal about it, and everyone else is more overboard than that hat. Like they'll have like the
I'm
the whole
drunken
elf
outfit.
outfit,
With the shoes and the
tights,
actual
everything. Yeah. And everyone honestly will look at them and go, "That's kind of weird."
Quite frankly,
It's
if I had the
Christmassy, but it's
resources,
weird.
I would wear it.
But that's the thing nowadays is that you wear whatever you want. You know what I mean? And
I mean, we are part of this woke movement. I'm just going to
we're
say
not
that.
even gonna get
Everybody-
started on that.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying because
Next.
everything doesn't matter anymore. But go ahead.
Right.
Everybody's too woke. Everybody's too woke. They need to go to sleep.
There you go.
Need a nap.
Now, all right, Tyler, 2024,
Yeah,
baby.
I
for
mean,
president.
I can see wearing Christmas stuff here or there, like maybe like red shirts and green shirts and stuff like
Traditional,
Yeah,
like-
actual
like-
attire. You know.
being festive, but like when you think about these people, like they're wearing like they don't think their sweater's ugly, but they're just wearing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're owning it like it's just it's Monday and I'm wearing a
Listen to
sweater.
the-
Well, it's because they're hopping on the trend. It's the bandwagon. Like there's an extra seat for everybody that wants to like follow in that path too. Because like a lot of people will be like, oh, I would never wear that. Like blah blah blah. Like like you could have somebody as gigantor as Brock Lesnar. The like rough and tough, type of person, and then they're like, "Oh, I'd never wear that." But millions of other people,
Yeah, you find them.
wear that, and then now because it's like, oh, they're doing it, so
A week
I'm gonna
later,
do
they're
it, so,
wearing
that's
it.
Right. So
right.
is it like the sports wagon? Like when everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're winning," and then they're like, "Oh, they lost." Okay, I guess I'm going to jump onto this team now because that's exactly how it seems like with the trends now. Like it's like you jump from the Patriots to then like the 49ers or some shit like that.
Three
Oh,
cheers.
did I just
All
read you?
because they jumped to the
I'm just kidding,
49ers.
man, I'm kidding.
I've never said I was a Patriots fan.
No,
I know. I know you.
That might be contrary to where I live, but
please don't. Tell
I've
me you're
never said I was a Patriots
He's a
fan. but
49ers fan,
I
it's
do
fine.
like the 49ers.
All right. As long as it's not Dallas.
No. Oh, here we go.
Amen.
I'm only kidding, guys. But all right, so kind of wrap this up. But we figured we'd kind of ask you guys some questions real quick. So like, I'll start off with one. So like, what are some Christmas traditions that you guys like to do around the holidays?
Me personally, like, I mean, like me and my family, again, like being like 30 and everything like that, there's no real like little ones other than like my nieces and nephews and stuff like that. But traditionally, like, during like the holidays, Christmas or anything like that, honestly, like it sounds pathetic, but it's really not because again, it's not about like all this and that, but it's about the the time spending with family and stuff like that. But we go over to my sister's house and hang out, have a couple of mimosas and
Little
some-
Teddy Brewskis and whatnot.
Yeah, some
A little brewskis like we just opened.
yeah. Maybe some cinnamon rolls or something like that. But like other than that, we kind of just treat it like any other day, like any other gathering. We all just hang out and we're just big chilling.
All right. So what about you, Joan? What is a Christmas tradition you like to do, my friend?
Well, traditionally, I mean, I kind of like to bring it back to how I was brought up during Christmas, which was all activities such as decorating the tree and making Christmas cookies, all that good stuff, and bestowing that upon my little family and my little son.
Oh, you mean Malachi?
Yeah,
The one that likes
man.
to basically say, I'm breathing, and then you're like, yes, that's a good thing to do right now, especially when you're breathing right now. I'm only
He
making
loves it. You know,
yeah.
he's all about decorating the tree. He loves the lights, the ornaments, and of course, the cookies. I mean, what little kid doesn't?
Yeah,
love
of course.
cookies? But I just basically like to bestow upon my traditions as when I was a little kid too. The family I've created. So
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, it's having it from the heart, right? I mean, you want to
Right.
bring
Right.
things into your own, like,
Yeah, and
you're building your own family in this case.
keeping up with old tradition, but with like a little bit of like your own twist to it.
Right, exactly.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Matt? What's a Christmas tradition you like to do?
Well, I mean, that one's kind of a funny one, is because it's not like we really like.
Oh, here we go. It's a funny
It might
one.
be like one of the regrets that because now my kids are older. They both kind of don't live at our house anymore.
One
so
lives in Arizona, and
we never really had or developed, I guess, like our own kind of tradition. Yeah, we decorated the tree and we did some other stuff, but we always like went to like my parents and then her parents, and always kind of did that travel back and forth between like who we were going to, go to that Christmas. Like if we went to my parents on Thanksgiving, we would go to her parents for Christmas and vice versa.
Right.
So we never really developed like our own thing for Christmas.
I mean, I get that.
But we,
that's
we
not a bad thing. I mean,
we did have
everybody
good
does it.
times. I mean, like at with her parents. I mean, they live in Arizona now, so we really don't have much of anything right now. But
right.
they used to make French toast loaf in the morning,
Yes.
which is just
Get it?
absolutely phenomenal. And then we'd have dinner. We'd open presents, and like we'd do kind of our thing there. Obviously, with my family, it would be a little different, but we'd still have the dinner and open presents and stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, of course, my dad's in the room, so I have to get it accurately correct here. So what I remember as a kid was what he would make is sausage bread, and he'd also make pepperoni bread. And yes, he would make calzones and certain other things that we would have. So, like, of course, we'd have all this food, right? So we'd have like a big gathering. So again, having a Sicilian, Irish, kind of, family, we always want to eat. Jordan definitely knows that side of the family. But, so of course, I used to go over to my grandmother's house. We'd open presents, and of course, we'd have our own Christmas at our own place as well. And so,
did you have like a red hood on?
yes, I had a red hood on. Yes, you caught me. Like no. So like what's funny is like I'll say this, and I want to say this in front of my dad. Okay, so like I will admit as a kid, like I will never say that I never had a good Christmas. Because I will say this because, like, for what I kid you not,
He would probably go over there and smack you if you said.
No. I mean, he probably would come over here and smack me. But the funny thing is this, right? So I'm going to tell this quick story. So like, there was one Christmas that my brother and I, we were in Spain. Okay, hold on. No, it gets better. He's laughing now, but because he knows it. So the thing is it was one Christmas night. It was actually Christmas Eve, and him and his, I think it was like three buddies. Oh, sorry, yeah, three buddies. They decided to build a trampoline while they were shit fucking drunk, and they decided to do it, and they thought it was a great idea to do it at night outside.
Hell yeah, brother.
And they did it all night. Okay. They built this at night, and they actually built it. And I was surprised. And actually, we woke up the next morning. I'm pretty sure a lot of them were sleeping on the trampoline because they were piss fucking drunk.
They're comfy.
And the funny thing was that both my brother and I were like, "Oh my God, it's a trampoline." And he's just like, "Man, I need to go to bed. Like, I can't fucking stand this right now." But like, I will say that I've never had a Christmas where I was never disappointed. Because they did provide that, and what I really would like to do with my son is kind of do that same thing. I mean, this year with him only being literally less than one.
So you mean being shit tanked assembling?
I mean, you know what? I would love to do that. No. What I could do is hold on. So the best part is that what I could do is I could reenact that with my dad at one point. Maybe build like a trampoline with him, and we could do the same
Shit
fucking
tanked.
thing. Exactly. But like I want to do that with
Allie will never allow that.
No,
by
she
the
would.
way.
Actually, she would. I think she would with him.
would.
I think she would.
Oh,
She might to a
She might to a degree, but like what I'm saying is like with my son being less than one, right? I mean, he's not going to really enjoy Christmas right now. So like I already know like the next couple years, that's when I have to start building that, Christmas tradition in that sense. So like what I would like to do is, when you guys were talking about like kind of going over to like different people's houses, things like that. Unfortunately with my family being a very like sprawled out, like all over the place, I have to go and do that. But unfortunately, like, I want to be able to spend time at home and like have people come over and do that. But like, I already know that I will have to go over to my dad's, or I'll have to go over to my grandmother's, and I have to go do these things. But, I will do, whatever it takes just so I can spend that time.
Yeah, and that
You
I
know?
mean the one thing that I will tell you, now that your kid, your kid is the age that that he is, develop the traditions that you and Allie are going to develop now,
Right.
because I can tell you right now, like once they're older, it'll be much harder to
Right. To do, right.
establish those, because now, I mean, both of my kids don't live with us, so trying to do anything now is nearly impossible.
Right. And I mean, I would like to do that. I think I'm going to, we're going to kind of look up some different things and kind of make it, a little bit different of what we've normally done. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd like to be able to kind of bring those old traditions of what I've done in the past. Right. And kind of like what what you were talking about, Jordan, being able to do all that, so like having those kind of like unique, things that you can still bring, but like also create those different traditions that you can bring.
So like kind of like bringing your little one to like a tree farm, cut down
Right.
like your own like real tree
Or
and everything like that,
simple
because
as
like
just
it's definitely
sorry, I was just saying simply as just going out to look for lights. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
That was huge with us. We
trying to
would,
find lights at Walmart in the middle of December is nearly impossible. You got to get that during Halloween.
right.
No, you're supposed to get it actually on the 23rd, just before it goes out of style. You know what, Matt? I'm gonna ask you this: is there any questions you want to ask these guys, or do you think that was a good kind of?
I mean, I don't think there's anything in particular I want to ask them, but I mean, I think we,
Yeah, so still brown.
just talking, Christmas, talking the traditions. Like I said, I think, I mean, for me personally, I wish I could have done things differently. Like we went to, sometimes one house, but both families on my side and her side on Christmas Day.
Right.
So that was really tough. And like, I kind of wish we were a little bit more bold and say, hey, like, we will go to your house either before or after Christmas and go that route, instead of trying to fit everything in where we didn't have like our own family time,
Right.
just us. We always, and it is one thing, like I do want to share time with family,
Right.
but we never developed our own thing, and that's kind of like what I really would have liked to do.
So I mean, I guess really the overall theme is just and this is just more of a general message to everybody. Like if you're gonna take that time, especially around Christmas, take that time to
Right.
build those traditions. Make sure that you're spending
It
time with
doesn't
the
have
loved
to
ones.
be all in. You don't have to fit everybody in
Right.
All in one day.
all in one
Right.
day.
Well, and not for nothing though, like a lot of like going talking back on how like our grandparents, parents and everything like that, like there's always like those like set few that make Christmas like Christmas without like all the like the extras, like they were the ones that brought family together, and you always had a good time, like there was no drama, there was no this, there was no that. You're leaving and going home with a smile on your face and
Mhm.
sleeping comfortably that night
Right.
and not have to
Yeah.
worry about anything. Like that's tradition. Like 'cause, I mean, it's happened in my family too. Like we had a few people that passed on, and over the Rainbow Bridge, and they were the ones that like really like held the bond together and really made it like a special like time and everything like that. So like and like you were saying, John, like you were saying earlier, we're on owed time essentially.
Right.
Mhm.
You got to make do and be happy and
With what you got.
push forward with what you got. Yeah, just because like like you want to give your kid or whatever like a real nice Christmas and everything like that. Some people just how the way they're brought up is just like ugh, sometimes they kick and scream, but most of the other times a lot of other families like they cherish that shit. Like it don't matter about like presents underneath the tree or anything like that. Like you were saying earlier as well, like it's spending time like with one another, like really like having that bonding experience. And it's kind of sad because like a lot of that is dying out because of like
Yeah.
how like how
Technology.
either how woke and again technology
Yeah.
because like everybody's just sitting there
Yep.
tweeting if they got a new Xbox or
Right.
whatever.
Sorry, go ahead.
I wasn't aiming it like that.
It is coming, John. I promise. That is the end. Okay. That's
But,
No, yeah,
but,
go ahead.
but like a lot of it, like, it's just sad. Like, if, like your kid like comes up to you and says that like I had a shitty Christmas, and it's like, well, like I'm sorry it wasn't that great of an experience for you, but like, like you kind of gotta like open their eyes to like
Yeah.
the real world of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Like, obviously, like, they're young, they're innocent, they don't really know like everything that goes on, and not for nothing, like me growing up in a somewhat like larger family, like there was eight of us, almost 10 of us in a house at once, and parents working their asses off just to get us what they got us, and we're always appreciative of that.
absolutely.
Now, when I was a kid, always used to hate getting socks and underwear, but I appreciate the hell out of that
Especially
right
now when you're older, yeah.
Deodorant,
Yeah.
shampoo. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
1000%.
I mean, I'll just say this though, is like, when you were just talking about, the whole idea of how our generation, how our, communities and how basically our society as a whole is becoming this, I'm going to say it, guys, like ungrateful little fucks, because it gets to a point where you're like, listen, with reality of what it is today. I mean, I've mentioned this on multiple occasions to multiple people. The fact that the whole fact of the cost of living is ridiculous. It mind boggles me on how like 20 years ago you could afford a lot more, and now to even live in anywhere, it is damn near impossible.
Yeah, you have to.
20,
You know,
20
I think
years
it's what,
ago,
you have to work 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job just to fucking.
20 years ago, you can get a 3-bedroom bath and a half house, on like a half acre of land for like $200,000-300,000. Now you got these new constructions, like actually next to my boss's house, there was a new construction that was put up, new house, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, garage underneath, woohoo, right, looks like a nice house. That sold in under a quarter acre of land, sold for over $500,000.
Right.
That's retarded. Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, excuse me, not.
No, it's
But-
trust me. I just said a lot worse than what you just did, but yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, and I'm only saying this as a general message because like I just feel like when it comes to like the old traditions of Christmas and everything else of being grateful in seeing how when we all grew up in a different era, right, and how you look at this generation of how they're like, oh, give me right now, and this is what I want.
And then
That is the wrong answer. We need to start teaching our kids
Discipline.
the right way of doing what Christmas really is, or really just how we, what respect is, what hard work is, what really the old traditions of what we've
Value
been
of a
doing.
dollar.
Exactly.
We need, like, and the thing is, and that like a lot of kids now like don't get, and like I can tell you right now, like I was probably like one of those bratty kids. Obviously, I don't remember. I was a fucking kid, but like, like you kind of take things for granted without really knowing it. And especially like, kids nowadays, they don't get what they want, and it's like and they're kicking and screaming. So like you essentially try to give like what they want, just so like you don't have to like deal with that headache, because like, you as a parent working your ass off trying to do what you can for your for your children, and they essentially take it for granted. And
Yeah.
that like that's the fine line difference. So like, you gotta, like you're saying, you gotta fucking respect what you get. You gotta appreciate that in every little bit, because
There's some people that go without, which is, I mean,
right,
really, really a shitty way to experience Christmas is to, be homeless or, not have enough food in the house or not being able to afford.
or you get paid $10 an hour. You
Right.
spend $30 on a gift, and then that's 3 hours of your life. It doesn't necessarily have to resort to that, but
Right. And the
again,
other thing too,
a
dude, I
lot of
think-
people aren't so like a lot of like people and kids aren't so grateful.
Yeah. I also want to touch the fact about we need to get these fucking damn veterans off the street.
Oh, damn, Skippy. That's right.
I
Keep preaching, my
fucking-
friend.
well, it pisses me off, dude. Like, how are you just gonna be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna make an ultimate sacrifice to abide by my country and go to another foreign country and fight my ass off, just so that my country can fucking live by their means. You know what I mean? And then get back. Get
Are we
treated
talking
like
about
shit.
Ukraine?
No, I'm not talking.
We're not going down that rabbit hole, my
Yeah, we're
friend.
not going down
I'm
that route.
talking
No.
about all veterans that have served or who
Just
is
kidding.
serving,
Right.
who have gone back or is not in the, in the military anymore and is getting treated like absolute dog shit because I won't even get political with it, but
Yeah, no, I know.
they're just getting treated like shit, and it's not right, dude. It really isn't. And I mean, for the ultimate sacrifice that they made and are making, they just don't deserve that at all.
I agree.
Right.
I absolutely agree. And not to interrupt, guys, but we do want to try to, wrap this up. I mean,
Yes.
great. Yeah, I want you guys to realize that we appreciate that you guys have been on the show because guess what? If you ever want to come back, you let us know and we'll definitely
Absolutely.
get this going.
Well, thanks for having
Yeah.
us.
It's been a
All right.
pleasure. Absolutely.
I'm glad you guys have joined us, but I will say this, guys. So if you want to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as well as again Spotify, all the major platforms when it comes to like the streaming apps and whatnot. I mean, again,
Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to help us out. And I hope you guys do the same because, again, I'm telling you, the more people we can connect, I mean, our mission, like Matt and I have always said, what is it, Matt?
To unite all geeks.
That's right. So no matter what, we're uniting all geeks,
Yep.
no matter under one roof, under whatever it is, whether you're a veteran, whether
Geek
you're
strong, baby.
exactly. I mean, whatever you are, that's what we want to bring to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Well,
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers,
guys.
cheers to everybody. God bless, God bless the
All right,
veterans and everything
but,
doing that.
Let's get geek. Ready? Okay, we're going to do this together. Ready? Say as always. Ready? As always.
As
Stay geeky.